for Heru Heals.
Peace. It's wonderful to be here again. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. I mean, last time we were talking about breathing. And literally our guy behind the scenes who does our podcasting, he hit me up and said, "Watch your breath." The way it's coming through. So Keith, I'm trying to be better about it. I promise I am. But tell us a bit about what you're here to share today.
Well, as you know, I'm a Qigong instructor. And one of the goals of Qigong or meditation systems and yoga systems is really to improve the quality of life. Renzu is the method that I chose to teach, and I choose to teach in the community. And the focus of Renzu is really about 5 treasures. And those 5 treasures are health, happiness, well-being, contribution, and growth. There are gateways to get there. And we call those the high 5. So that's the high 5, the penultimate of where we want to get to. But there's some gateways or some methods that we have to walk down to get there. The first one is trust. That's foundational. Trust is really about trusting the process, trusting the universe, trusting yourself, building that trust, returning to trust. We've lost trust through relationships and interactions and things like that, and really had some tough times in life. But if we live in a distrustful or mistrustful manner, we won't accept what the universe has to offer us. And so we have to really work around healing that. And so the method of Qigong that we practice is really about reestablishing trust with yourself, trust with your people, and trust with life in general to establish some well-being. Next, we move on to what we call openness, and we have to be open to receive information, right? We trust that the information is pure, but we also have to be open to accept the information that we receive and then add the information to that information some actions. If we receive information but don't do anything about it, it's just noise, right? So we have to put that information into action. The next we have is love. Right? We have to reestablish love and harmony in our lives, heal ourselves, help others, and things of that nature. So we have to love. Love is really a foundational understanding of who and what we are. It's our being, our sense of self. It's really our identification with that interdependence between one another. We give and receive. We give without expecting anything in return, and we receive openly and honestly. The next one is gratitude, being thankful. Right? Being thankful that we have a body, a modality to receive this information and this love to really grow and to achieve what we want to accomplish and what we need to accomplish in life. And then we have Gongjing. And Gongjing is really about respect. It's ultimate respect, really. It's respecting yourself, it's respecting others, it's respecting the universe, respecting the process, and really just embracing what every experience has to offer and learning from it, rather than, being a boring to it, like, oh my God, I can't deal with this situation. I don't want to interact with these people or these things, but really just accepting and understanding it and learning through the process. So those 10 points are what we're talking about right now.
Wow. I mean, this right here, I think sometimes people see something like Qigong. I think people have been seeing it now in the park. You've been out here in these streets in the community. So I think people are kind of getting like, oh, okay. And they kind of equate it to like Tai Chi. But I think also, too, there is a kind of surface level understanding because they don't understand all of these different layers to it. So it looks like it's just something that's physical. But this is obviously something that is rooted in what you call those high 5s that really culminate together to be about all of the different things. And so how do you bring that out to community so they understand these high 5 points?
Well, while we're practicing, when we're in that modality, we talked about breathing. We talked about, focusing and being calm. So we'll focus in our breath. But as we're practicing the modalities of the movements, we also engage a mind activity to understand these high 5 principles. And we'll walk through that principle throughout the practice. The practice is really geared towards, the movement piece, but the movement piece is really accessing the brain activity and helping the brain do what it needs to do. And we also take, steps to make sure that anyone can participate. Not everyone can move. Not everybody can stand on one foot and put one foot in the air and things like that. So we have different styles and different techniques for people who might not want to get into the exercise aspect of it, that can sit in space and just learn how to do these mind activities and really heal the heart and uplift the spirit.
Yeah, this right here for me, it's so holistic. And because we haven't had enough, I think, holistic practices, they get broken off into pieces, right? And so it's kind of this like ad hoc, or, oh, I'm gonna, kind of just take this piece and leave the rest. I understand that that's what's worked for some people, but the truth of the matter is it doesn't really work over time. And I think people have to understand that this holistic approach, when we talk about qigong, being out here and doing the movements, this is also another measure of what you were describing the last time you were here around eliminating stress, right? And so tell us a bit about how the qigong practice also connects to some of those original points you made around eliminating stress.
Definitely. Well, with the movement aspect of qigong, we're conditioning the body to respond to stimuli a different way. We're taking time, just like if we were practicing shooting a free throw, we're taking time in practice mode when we don't have the stressors around us to learn how to breathe again, to learn how to move again, to learn how to visualize what it looks like to be at peace, to be our true natural being that we are designed in the image of. And so when we practice those, when we don't have the stimuli outside, we don't have all of the noise of life bombarding us, when we step into those spaces where the noise returns, we can remind ourselves, hey, look, I practiced this, so I can recenter myself. And we put trigger points throughout the meditation practice, throughout the qigong practice, so it's easy to return back. It's easy to go back to the 6 verses and go, wait, I'm inside of my person, and I can feel the emptiness and spaciousness within, right? I can connect with everything in the universe. So I'm one with this person, I'm one with the situation, right? And then I can have gongjing. I can return back to my person and go, oh, wait, I'm respectful of this. This is good stuff, right? I need this information. I need this interaction in order to become strong again, in order to heal. So we condition ourselves in the quiet moments for the noisy moments. Anybody can be a guru on a mountaintop, right? So we have to step inside of space and interact with people to learn if we've really endued ourselves with this understanding.
Yeah, it happens on the ground. It's so true. One of these high 5 points here, the very first one, I mean, you're talking about trust. We know in the Black community in particular, I mean, and as you just kind of outlined it there's so many different barriers that I think are up for people, or they've established barriers for themselves around trust. And we know it spans the spectrum. There's a bunch of reasons why, a bunch of different personal experiences that have caused that wall to be up there. But, what are some of the ways that you walk people through lowering that barrier and understanding that trust is a major part of the entire healing process?
I was thinking about this as I was driving here today, and I was thinking about like hanging out with my daughter when she was little. And she would have tea parties for me, make little tea parties. And I sat down in one of the chairs and it broke and I fell, right? And so if it was a little tiny Barbie chair, right? It wasn't made to hold my weight, right? But I didn't go around for the rest of my life being nervous about sitting down in chairs. Otherwise, I'd be too tired, right? I wouldn't be able to sit. When I came in here, I jumped in this chair. I didn't think about the chair. I looked at it like, oh, it'll hold my weight and things like that. We do have the ability to intuit, to understand and to use wisdom, right? We have to activate that faculty too, so we know how to interact with people. But we also have to return to the source that we're created in the image of a peace that is unconquerable by nature. There's nothing that can disturb that peace. We have spent a lot of time as Black and brown people identifying with the person, with our physical being and the trauma that our physical beings have endured. We have to return back to what our source is. We're created in this image of peace. If we return to that peace through this holistic practice that we're talking about, these types of practices, we can really stabilize ourselves and we don't identify with the trauma anymore. That gives us the ability to create. That gives us the ability to change. That gives us the ability to heal ourselves, to uplift ourselves, uplift our community, uplift others. So it's really about returning to that source so we can rebuild the civilization of trust that we had, that we established for thousands of years in different civilization cultures.
Yeah, this is exactly actually why I mentioned that in the first segment of Heru Heals. Was there's so many treasures that are there when we talk about our ancient civilizations, and the fact that we get to live in this plane right now and witness and also participate and experience the benefits of those treasures by bringing them back to life is so key. I think a lot of people don't understand. Sometimes there's this direct connection to how healthy our ancient societies and civilizations were, but it was really because they were utilizing these practices and they were a part of everyday life. So people understood that. I mean, now, as you practice Qigong and you're talking about this, what was it about Renzu's style in particular that made you say, this is something I want to do? I want to become an instructor in this, but then I want to bring this out to my community. Because I think that connection right there is where now so many other people are beginning to benefit from what you decided, this is how I'm going to be giving back to people.
Well, Renzu is a philosophy of change, of healing your life, right? Of healing relationships, of healing your psyche, of healing your body. It wasn't just exercise. I walked into different Qigong studios. I walked in different, yoga studios, and it was about the exercise. Like, we're going to do hot yoga today. We're going to sweat it out, right? But Renzu was really focused on how do we change these patterns? We have these negative habits. We have these negative opinions, these repeat offenses that we continue to create. We've offended, trust on our own. How do we heal that? And when I sat down with my instructor and my first trainer, that's what we talked about. We weren't talking about, we got to focus on the movements. It was like, hey, let's focus on the mind activity. What patterns do you have in your life that you want to heal, that you want to change, so that you can grow as a being? And I was like, wow, this is a different conversation than what I expected. I thought we were just going to come in here. I was going to hold a pose for an hour. And so when I understood that, and then really got into the philosophy of Renzu, Zen Du Du Ren, which means to uplift yourself so you can uplift others. There's not a lot of choice in that, right? I'm going to heal myself, and my cup runs over, as we've been taught, as children. I have to give it away, right? So I picture myself, hey, I'm going to receive this information. I have to take it back. Who better to take it back to than my people, right? The people that have been impacted in my society or my community the most. And so I'm going to take it back to the people that I love, the people that raised me, the people that have been traumatized with me, help them heal, so now we can rebuild what was lost. And then we can spread that out throughout the nation, throughout the world, right? We want to heal ourselves. And we're all on this journey together. We have to take care of one another.
Wow. Heru Heals in the building. Thank you so much. This is really powerful insight and information you're sharing. And I'm really, honored, honestly, that the Day with Trae can be a conduit for all the things that you're doing out here in community. And of course, now's the time where you get to look right there and let people know how they can connect, how they plug in to all the things you have going on.
Best way to connect with my person is on Instagram at Heru Nefer. That's the best way. DM me there, follow me there. I put stuff up on that platform. You can also email me at Heru Tcchasmen at gmail.com. I answer those emails as well. So I'm always available to work in the community. I'll come to your site. I'll come to your office. We teach this inside of corporations. So feel free to tap me and we'll step into that space.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being with me today on this. I don't know if it's Think It Through Thursday. It's a great, you gave us some good topics for Think It Through Thursday. Thank you again, Heru Tcchasmen, for joining me today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. Wow.